Okay, here we go. More on the narcissists in our lives. Okay. Narcissists, they love to interrupt you when you're speaking and ask a zillion questions. So you're trying to give them specific details about, hey, honey, I just want to give you my update for today. I have this and this and this on point, and then I'm going to be here. And you think that you're communicating, but then it's like, oh, what did you say? Where are you going again? And then the interruption. And then by the time you're done, you don't even remember what you said and what you didn't say because they've interrupted you so many times. And let me just say this. He was presenting himself to be Jewish, and a trait of Jewish people is they love to ask questions. And so I thought that this was the way that he was wired because he was, quote, Jewish. And so the point is, he's allowed to ask all the questions, but I'm never allowed to ask any questions because, he's in control. And he would interrupt and be like, babe, I really got to go. And then he would leave when I'm in the middle of asking him a question because he never wanted to be held accountable for what questions I had. But he could ask as many questions as he wanted while I'm trying to just share important information. So what I mean by all this is that they want you to be obedient to their agenda and to their authority. But they don't really care about what your needs are, what your requirements are, and they're going to constantly forget to bring home the almond milk or whatever simple thing you ask them to do. They're just not going to do it. And they're going to blatantly not do it because they're above the law. So they're going to punish you with things that you really need in order to run the household, but they're going to put you on a guilt trip because of whatever emotional challenges they had that day. And then they're going to lean on you like you have to solve all their emotional woes for the day. And meanwhile, they're abusing you, but they're disguising everything as, quote, healthy banter. So I thought he was just so intellectually stimulating with the banter, but now I see that it was not banter. It was abuse. It was emotional and mental abuse, the things that he did. I was drugged and poisoned without my permission, meaning I'm not a drug addict. I have no desire to be a drug addict, never have, never will. But he poisoned me in my smoothies and in my food and literally put that in my coffee or any kind of tea or whatever I had in whatever I was drinking. He would poison me by putting drugs in or things that would make me fall asleep and I would pass out. And meanwhile, I'd wake up like, what the hell? Why am I here? And look around and he's gone. My car's gone. And then I'm calling him and he's like, oh, babe, I ran out of cigarettes. I just went to get some cigarettes. I'll be right back. Oh, did you just wake up? And again, so everything he had a total, planned response for everything. He always was thinking 5 steps ahead because he was always trying to get himself out of whatever situation he was in. Zero integrity, zero accountability, although he presented himself to be accountable, even though he wasn't. So he's telling you to your face that he's completing all these tasks. He's lying to your face. And meanwhile, there is no accountability. He hasn't done any of the things that he said he was going to do. And meanwhile, you're thinking those tasks are completed and they've never been handled. So for example, I had given him money for the business to make something an LLC. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm going to go there. I'll handle that. And the point is that business was never set up as an LLC. He never did it. He never handled the responsibility. So meanwhile, I'm running businesses thinking these things are handled and they weren't because he never did what he said he was going to do. Physical abuse. Now, this particular day, I was doing a workout and my face was towards the, screen of the television and I'm doing my workout. It was like a beach body workout. And while I'm doing the workout, he took a trash bag filled with clothes, all these things that we'd set aside, like we're giving these away to Goodwill and these things are going to need to be washed and whatever. All these things were separated and organized in bags. And he took one of those trash bags and threw it at my head. And I literally fell over on the floor. And then when I came to, I was like, what? He's like, oh my God, baby, I just fell asleep. Are you okay? He literally would use his medical condition of narcolepsy to basically try to get out of any kind of responsibility whatsoever. Luckily, I saw the pattern. Sexual abuse. Narcissists are going to tell you that they're only with you, and meanwhile, they're going to be with a whole slew of women and men, and they're going to be literally lying to your face, having all these active porn dating websites, hookup sites, with literally seeking out sex. That's all his all these naked pictures of himself seeking out sex. And meanwhile, I'm engaged thinking that I'm saving myself for marriage, and this guy is totally, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, infidelity, adultery, etc. Okay, he publicly criticized me and embarrassed my business name. And then he had his same posse of people and his own children triangulate and do the same thing, and then bullying me on social media and bullying, with nasty emails and nasty text messages. And all of that is part of his whole persona. And then he'll be like, I have no idea. I didn't know I did that at all. I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't mean to hurt you. I don't mean that. It must be the sleep disorder. That's what I mean. He would use his medical disorder to literally counteract and not take responsibility for anything that he was doing. He was most certainly a sociopath in addition to being a narcissist. He blamed everybody for his problems. He never wanted to take responsibility for anything that he did. And he would constantly target and seek out people that had certain problems. Like he would want certain clients for music students. And then he would be like trying to present himself as such a compassionate person that he really loved these clients. And meanwhile, these clients had been expressed to be on certain medications. And then now it makes sense why he would be spending so much time in their bathrooms. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? Why is he taking so long in the bathroom? Well, bathrooms are their place of where they're doing their drugs. All the excessive work hours, I got to go work at the studio. I'm putting down a new track. I'm putting down a new beat. All of that is code for I'm hooking up with whores, and I'm going to do a lot of drugs, and I'm going to be in hotels. But I'm not telling you that I'm in hotels because I'm telling you that I'm going to my music studio. But again, after he died, I found all the receipts for all these seedy hotels and all these people that were on all these phones and all these burner phones that led to these other seedy people. He claimed to be the source of so much inspiration and knowledge and wisdom. And he definitely was a biblical scholar in some sense. And he presented himself to be a pastor and a teacher, and that he knew the word. And he was presenting himself to be someone that was really going to care for me, that had my back, somebody that was looking out for me. So he had this whole persona of being this good guy and, being the strong guy for me, and that he was going to take care of me. But in reality, there was no remorse. And underneath of all that, everything was about his personal, benefit. He was, hanging out with whores. He was into drug trafficking and sex trafficking and crime and, stealing from me, stealing from other people, breaking and vandalizing other people's cars, all of that. And all of these things are within the entertainment industry and the music industry. This is all common. This whole love bombing thing, all of it is all part of the whole persona. And again, we'd be standing in line at the grocery store and somebody would be like, oh, can I touch your hair? Your hair is so beautiful, because he had beautiful, long, dark hair. And, and he would be like, sure, no problem. So all these girls are touching his hair and they're like, what do you do? What products do you use? And this whole thing. And it's like, he was constantly flirting, constantly seeking all the attention, not wanting to take responsibility for anything. He just constantly wanted to be in that role of attention. $100,000 in student loan debt. Okay. And again, hiding all that, withholding all that as far as his financial information, lying to my face, telling me that he's totally in the clear and just in the black. Everything's great. And then when I took him to a Debtors Anonymous meeting, and I was like, you're going to talk about money, and we're going to have a conversation about this. And I want you to understand what these principles are so that we can bring this into our marriage, so that I understand. And he would constantly be vague about money. He didn't want to talk about money. And, and then I'd get all the receipts, and it would be like $400 a month on cannolis, desserts, $400 a month on cannolis. Okay. $800 a month on cigarettes. but he's a non-smoker. He doesn't smoke, but $800 worth of receipts were on cigarettes. This is what I mean about the lies and the manipulation. And because I wasn't monitoring all these things, he was hiding them. He was crunching up the receipts. He was using different debit cards and whatever and transferring money from here to there. He was doing all kinds of seedy, dark stuff to cover his trail so that it didn't appear like he was really spending that money out of the main accounts. He was love bombing. He gave me extravagant gifts, and he would give me these gifts in my love language. So if I liked to have massages and get a pedicure and have a spa day and all this stuff, he would lavish me with these gifts of these incredible spa days. And then I'd come home and there'd be fresh flowers and everything would be vacuumed and, everything would look like it was cleaned up. But the whole point is, while I was gone on that spa day all day long, he would have been using my apartment as a drug den and as a whore ring. But I had no idea because that's what he was doing. He was using my resources to do what he wanted to do for his evil and his wickedness, advancing his personal agenda all the time. And again, he had a track record for negative experiences and broken relationships. But because he used that whole premises of, I'm a church guy, you need to forgive me, Jesus forgave me, therefore you need to forgive me. And so his whole divorce and the narcissistic kids and the broken relationships and all the other people that were dead, all of his previous relationships with women, they were all died. I mean, come on, if that isn't a red enough alert enough, they were all drug addicts or in the way of whatever he was doing, and he knocked them off. He had a history of abusing other people, and he definitely wanted to isolate me. And every time I was going to go see a friend out of state or out of town, he'd be like, no, don't go, don't leave me. I really need you this weekend. So he was constantly changing my plans that I was making for myself and constantly coming up with some hardship, or he just hurt his hand, or it was always some kind of something to mess up my plans so that he could have all of his attention on him, all of my attention on him, so that I would not be furthering my relationships with my closest friends. And so he was making up lies about my friends. He was distorting the truth about my friends, and he was trying to get me to be against my friends. And, thank goodness I have good friends. So they saw through it and helped me to see through it too. He had a superiority complex. I mean, narcissists do. They think that they are above the law. They think that they're better than anybody and everybody else. And they will do just enough to eke by to make it seem like they are for you, but just at the minimum. And then they'll abandon you at the moment and the time that you really need them to be there. So let's say that there's an event or a dance or something important, a family event, and I've asked them in advance. I've given them warning. I really need you here for this date. No problem. I promise I'll be there. I'll be there. And then, of course, are they there? No. There's always some excuse, some last minute thing that comes up, and they do it on purpose because they have no intention to actually be there for you and your family. They have no intention to be there for you when you have a medical need, or when you have a need for a ride, or you need for somebody to be there for you. They're never there for you. They are only there for their needs. So I hope this gives you another insight into the mindset of a narcissist and into the mindset of drug addicts, because they all are intertwined. And whether you call it sociopath or narcissist or drug addict, you know what? It's the same name, because they all lie, steal, cheat, disobey, and manipulate. That's their whole game. And if you're gullible enough, you'll fall for it without even knowing, because their whole VIP strategy is so cleverly manipulated and designed that you will actually think that you're in love. You will actually think that that person has your best interest for you. And they don't. They're just trying to leech away from you and get you dry, like dry out your financial resources, dry out your assets, dry out your time, dry out your energy. They literally are energy vampires. That's exactly what they are. So beware. Create your exit strategy. If you'd like more information, reach out to me at AHLC and Hyland Life Coaching. Life coaching, health coaching, get you out of these terrible narcissistic relationships. And again, yes, I do a lot of questions, and I really get a feel for where you've been, and we create action plans to help you get from where you are to where you want to go and to get you out of this funk and get you out of this depression and horrible lifestyle that these people in your life have put you into because you just didn't see it. They were just real manipulative and they pull the wool over you. Well, no more. So let's wake up out of this dream light state and let's get on board to creating a life that you would love to live with joy. Have a good one.